Good morning and welcome to Transformation Tuesday. We're going to be talking about transformation destination. As you well know, that this is all about healing yourself, making yourself change for the better. And it's brought to you by our healing center. We're going to be right back with our transformation destination.
Come unwind with the Healing Center, a place where we feel thrilled to heal. Please smile, focus on the mind. The morning step inside the Healing Center. Where hope begins and the pain can cease. The Healing Center, your home for peace.
We're back, and today's topic is all about transformation destination for your Transformation Tuesday. You can join us at any time. Go ahead and click the button, and you'll be interactive in our conversations. That's where we want you to be, right here with us. Our call-in number is 1-888-721-9260. And we look forward to having you join us. Good morning. So happy to be here today. I'd like to say a shout out to one of our listeners who used to be in our group when we had started earlier. Hello there. So nice to always have ones that you work with for saying hello to us. How do we transform and let that be our journey? Because I'm going to tell you something. In life, there are people who will create for you setbacks. That is, if you allow that, or create for you toxicity. And we have to train ourselves now that we are healing from hurts or what has happened in our life before we knew better. There are still some of us who are in training. Good morning, Trish. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you, and good morning.
And so we're going to talk about transformation destination. First, I want to make an announcement that we do have our emails up at vibetalkfacethelion. We have that one up. And we want you, it's vibetalkfacethelion at gmail.com. And we look forward to having you guys write in, share your thoughts, uh, and tell what you think. So, it's like traveling. And when you travel, you want to get to where you're going. Right? Yeah. Say have a little we have a little troubles the internet with you handle with your so build space and you your feelings look you how has that been for you when we are going through a process of change and when you are focused on how to get to the transformation? How's that looking for you? For some, it's been easy. For others, it's been still a challenge. And yet, when we challenge ourselves, it isn't a bad thing. Challenging yourself actually is work. And as you know, it's work for us who are involved in this podcast. We don't give you answers. We simply help you to plan strategically, having tools, working with the tools, being able to become aware, acknowledging. So, what has been your destination? When we think about our approach, isn't it though to get somewhere as you're changing? Let me ask you a question. Come a little closer. Well, where would you like to be in your lifetime right now? Because in order for you to get and arrive safely to your destination, you must be a good traveler. On your travel destination, you're going to run into what are challenges. And as you travel, you're going to see new things. You're going to run into obstacles, detours, roadblocks. But still, how will you get there? If you're a traveler, perhaps where you have set off to go in your life, maybe it's unfamiliar territory. Maybe someone that you've known has already been down that road. We'll call those the locals. They know about what you're going through. Maybe they didn't experience exactly what you're experiencing, but they know a little something. So you as a traveler, imagine yourself learning, self-discovery of yourself, and more understanding of you, yourself, and you. Sometimes when we travel, we just don't know how far we want to go. There are some travelers who travel very far, and long, and there are others who go short distances. What kind of traveler are you? And let me ask you, would you like to discover yourself? Sometimes we have to be mindful of things, our world around us, our world within us, and there's a lot to learn. If you're like me and learning something every day, and being a coach and certified counselor does not mean that I know everything. In fact, there have been many hours spent researching information, and that's why we encourage you to do the work and not just take my word for it or say, which many people say, I love the sound of your voice. That's all good and that's all fine. But see, what I'm to do is help you to use the tools. Many people have asked me, well, what made me decide that I wanted to get on this journey to transformation? And it has not been easy. Willingness is one of them. Willing to want to understand the me that lives inside of me and connecting with what's going on versus what has not been going on. What is in my best interest and what is not. Because some of us live as travelers and locals, saying we're satisfied with other people telling us who and what we are. So, who are you? Have you discovered about yourself the need to transform something in your life? Good morning, Miss Alice. Right back at you. Love and hugs. And we're talking about transformation destination. Now, Trish, how have you gone about doing this?
Um, I have decided when I started my transformation that I would take the full ride instead of trying to get shortcuts because at first I wasn't patient with myself. So for me, a shortcut is trying to get answers from other people and trying to um, get labels from other people for people to tell me who I am. And then I realized, you know what? That's not working. So I had to step back, start keeping my journal, and start discovering myself and start thinking about, is that who you are though? Like asking myself questions. And that's all part of the ride, the journey. So that's how I went about it.
Thank you for your honesty. For those of you who are coming in or listening, you have a comment box below, and you can comment and participate. This is always an interactive podcast. So when we think about transformation, it involves using our brain power. We all have a brain, and being able to discover your brain power and how beautifully your brain that lives inside of your environment is. It is mind blowing. Our brain is a powerful tool. And just when you think that life is dark, life is unchanging, your brain has the power to rethink those thoughts. And we want you to be able to think about new ways of using your brain power to transform. You know that transformation of something that is the roadblock in your life, or perhaps the more treacherous roadway. When we think about it, life has not been easy for many of us. While some have experienced real tragedies, and people want to know, what have you been through? Or you're just in everyday conversation and you find so much about people. You begin to talk, begin to know each other, and that's what our group sessions are all about. Anybody who wants to come to group sessions, we hold a group session Friday mornings, 10:30. You can be on Zoom or video, or you can follow us live to join in the conversation, or you can come on down to the Healing Center and we're going to give you that address. That address is 1317 East Palmdale Boulevard. For you locals, uh, the invitation stands. We start at 10:30. We ask you to be there before 10:30 because we like to start right on time unless there's something going on, because it's a live broadcast. We accept you as our audience right in the center, so you can come in, take a seat, and even join in our topic of conversation. Change. How has change, which is the same as transformation, helped you? We all go through changes. For me, change is hard. Even when I was younger, to change something was very difficult for me to get settled in. And I'm thinking about school. You know that part when the teacher changes your seating and you come in and you are no longer sitting in that comfortable spot. And you come in on a Monday morning and you're trying to go to your original seating. Two things here. She's changed the way, or he has changed the way that your desk used to sit. So you notice that, and that makes you feel a little uneasy. And then the person that was sitting next to you is no longer sitting next to you because there's going to be a new person. How many of you have experienced that?
I
Anybody?
have.
How did that make you feel? Because for me, it was uncomfortable. It was like, wow, this is shock, trauma to me.
That made me feel very uncomfortable too. And especially like the person beside you is like your neighbor. That's how you see them because you know them already. And then all of a sudden, like, you have to go somewhere else, and the person next to you is like, we have to start over again. It's like the first day of school all over again. And it's like, I thought I had to experience that on day one. I thought we passed that already. But we have to do it again. So it made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. was very uncomfortable for me, but you know, hats off to the teachers, as I am a retired a young people's teacher. I realize the importance of why my peers did that, because that makes for growth. Maybe they're not, your student is not going to get to know everybody in the classroom depending on how often the teacher switches. But if we've all experienced that, what begins to happen when June comes? You're beginning to develop growth, because your neighbor who's sitting next to you is probably no doubt feeling the same way. You get to know each other. You've decided, even while it first happens to you, I don't like this. This is not good. Or I don't want to get to know that person. Now let's transform that onto ourselves. Because we say that and we speak that into our own selves. We don't like what we see. We're not interested in getting to know the changes we need to make. And we are used to people telling us the changes that we need to make. Because they will start out with something like, you need to do this, or you need to do that. We've been telling people to come to our Vibe Talk, to come to the center. But you know what I've learned? If you don't discover that if there is something that you need to change, you're never going to see it or change. Transformation, change is good. I am a creature of habit. I will take the same road, the same way, every single day. My nephew pointed out to me one day, he said, Auntie Nisi, you go the same way every day. You even go to my house the exact same way. Did you know that there were other ways to get to my house? And one day, he put me to the challenge. He said, without going this same way to my house, I want you to tell me how to get to my house another way. I was stumped because I never realized that there were other ways. There were other avenues that I could take to change the habit that I didn't realize I had, until someone brought it to my attention. And it did challenge me, because if somebody was looking for me and wanted to really do harm to me, they would have easily found me, because I am not a person that likes change. I'm a traveler that wants to go the exact same way, the familiar territory, the way that I know to go. But when you learn a new way, and it has a different outcome, but you've arrived safely, how do you then feel? It's so important for us to understand the keys of transformation destination. Because before you get to that change, you must recognize the keys that you need to be able to make that change. And when we think about the destination of transformation, we think about shifting. Now, if you're familiar with cars, which is a commonality among us, we realize that a car has gear shifts, right? So there's park, there's drive, there is neutral. Sometimes you got a third gear, a second gear, okay? You must know what all of those means if you're going to be a well traveler, a safe traveler. And we liken it to cars or traveling because many of us have traveled, even if it's to go to the local market around the corner. We understand it. But when we shift in a world, we are shifting to accomplish something. Your destination is like saying, where would you like to go? Where will you end up? While many of us travel and have no plans. It's like this. Have you ever just taken a drive? You didn't know where you were going, but you just set out to drive to anywhere. Did you expect change? Or did you expect your travel to be troublesome, risky? And you overcame it, while some of us turn back because we're not comfortable with the travel that we're on. Perhaps at this moment you are on a healing or transformation journey. Maybe the things that life has shifted you to, you're still not understanding. Maybe it's not the most desirable, but you've learned something. You know the pet peeve of mine? I hate getting lost. Come a little closer. I hate getting lost. How many of us have ever gotten lost? Anybody out there?
I
Got,
have.
how did that feel to you to be lost?
Scary. I actually cried. Um, it was very scary, uncomfortable. Um, I didn't know what was gonna happen. I didn't know where I was going. Well, to describe that, confusing. So yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah. How many of you, while being somewhere, has lost someone, even if it were for a brief moment? Let me tell you about my story. My youngest son, we were in a very big place, and he was about 3, maybe, if not even, maybe he was a little younger. But this has a great ending because we were talking, and all of a sudden, my sister and I said all at once, "Where's Kylan?" We lost him, slipped away. If any mother knows what that's like, or father knows what that's like, you understand for a moment you are panicked beyond belief. But now, as your world has shifted for a moment, you're doing everything to move forward to find him. You don't just let him find his way because he's too little. He doesn't know how to get back. But you know what his destination was? For something that he remembered that he liked. He remembered where we had gotten ice cream from, and that's where he set off, as little as he was. That is a lesson because he couldn't tell me about that experience. He doesn't remember that. He was so young. But he remembered that there was an ice cream stand. Isn't that amazing? How when you feel that you have lost someone in life or lost something, you've lost something in life, and you speak only for a moment, or you experience that for a moment, but then that wasn't his experience. Because he set out to shift, change, to find his destination where he wanted to be. Now, if you're following me, what can we learn from that? In life, what we set out to do is to have an improved state of life. The majority of us. What we set out to do is have something that we desire to have. That's the shifting in our lives that make us who and what we are at this moment. Oh, my God! I apologize. Our being able to transform, means that we are set out to do something. We're going to shift, just like the gear shifts. We're going to move, because don't you notice that the gear shift always means change of something? We go uphill, so many of our cars will switch to make it more desirable for us. When we are parked, we turn our wheels safely toward the curb so we don't have a rolling car. Your destination in life is just like that. What do you want to do? What do you want to be? How do you want to experience change? And I want to tell you something. Change is never easiest. You're going to have to experience turbulence. Sometimes we think that our turbulence happens always in an airplane. I have not experienced turbulence in an airplane. But I have experienced turbulence while driving a car. There has been road conditions. So in our life, we have road conditions, roadblocks, detours. Can you think about a detour in your life? Because sometimes you're not always aware of the detour. It sneaks upon you. What do? Do you abort the trip? Do you say, never mind? Or do you find new ways to discover that you can get there, but your brain is going to have to work for you to be able to assess how it is that you're going to do it to arrive safely? Our change happens when we welcome the change. Though it may be uncomfortable for us, though it may be really turbulent to begin to change, and some of our changes we don't even notice until when someone says, you've changed. Isn't that amazing? So if other people notice that we've transformed, why aren't we noticing those changes. Does that make sense to anyone? Our
It
life,
does.
go ahead, Trish. Go right ahead. Just jump in.
I was gonna say it makes so much sense because I thought about that the other day that someone that I haven't talked to in a while, they've called me and they're like, "You know what? You're so different from before, from the last time I talked to you." And I'm like, I don't see it. But they're like, you're different. Like your voice, it's different. And they see it's crazy how people see the change in you and you don't see it. But it's important for me to, when I hear people say that, for me, I take a step back and reflect on what they're talking about to see if it's true or not. So, yeah.
Good point. So we're asking everybody, what has made you change? How have you changed? Because almost everyone that I've spoken to, someone has said that to them. And we almost say it all the time in our life. How many of us have been around babies? And then we say, after we've seen them past a year, we say, you've changed. Because they're no longer babies. They grow up. They start to develop their own selves. They start to grow into themselves. And then when adolescence comes, their voice starts to change and they lose their baby looks. We've all seen that. That wasn't an easy plight for them, for you, for I to experience that. But transformation, today we're talking about the transformation of healing. That is yourself. In order to heal as a traveler, in order to bounce back, in order to be uh, resilient, we must rethink the destination. So we're going to talk about it, and lines are open. What is our number for our line, Trish?
Our number is 1-888-721-9260.
Yeah, yeah. So our transformation healing is a process. It involves our personal growth. Our personal growth involves parts of us. I want you to think about the parts of yourself. Maybe you need a physical healing. Then there's the emotional healing. Then you have the psychological healing. While there is still mental healing. These involve shifts. Today, I want you to think about the driver shift because you are a traveler. And I want you to draw that shift, but instead of what you would see on a car, I want you to shift into when you draw your drivers, your drive shifts. Put something that you need to do. Be creative with it. You can put on things there that you would need to shift and change. Move. You can be real creative with this. Why do we have our expressions through art? Because you can see it on paper. And then as you see an image, you say, wow, it looks like this. Even if you want to draw a whole car, I just want you to work on the gear shift, the movement in your car, and how you want to move. Emotionally, physically, psychologically, and mentally. Because after all, it's your car. How many of you like other people driving your car? Or how many of you have driven a car and let the passenger shift the car all throughout your destination? Many of you may be sarcastic and say, well, I let my child do it. But would you let them do it the whole trip? You would have to take over that shifter because, number one, it ensures your safety. Your journey is yours and yours alone. I want to point your attention to something as well. You as the traveler, the driver, the shifter, your journey is going to be different from the person sitting next to you. Going back to the classroom, and we always refer to young child life because all of what we speak about starts then. Remember how I gave you the visual of what it was like when the teacher changed the room, and Trish and I basically could relate as to how we felt? We haven't heard how the other person felt because maybe the other person is experiencing excitement. Because maybe you were sitting across the room and they really liked you. There was something they liked about you. And now you get to sit by them and they've made new friends. See, no two minds think alike. Your healing journey contains roadblocks, different experience, similar emotions. Your emotional wounds may be different from the person sitting next to you. If I say cry, draw me a picture of someone crying, you all understand the emotion of crying, right? But I guarantee you no picture will be exactly alike. And then I say, now write down why the person on that picture is crying. You all aren't going to say the same thing. If I say, tell me about the experience of the person that's crying, you're all going to give me a different version. And that's what traveling is like for so many people. While I don't get on planes because of the fear that I have spoken. I have experienced through other people what their experience was like being on a plane. And here's what some of them said as travelers. I love getting on the plane. You get there faster, it's cheaper, and I love sitting by the window. How many of us have heard people say that? Anybody? And then there's other people who say, wow, the turbulence made me a bit nervous. I don't like heights. I was feeling closed in, and I just couldn't wait to get off of those planes or that airplane. You see the traveler's experience, but we both know what fear and excitement is like. But in all, you've made it to your destination. And that is how, when we transform, when we start to change, sometimes it's ugly, sometimes it's a beautiful change, sometimes there's turbulence, sometimes it's rough and treacherous the way that we go. Because some of us know how to get to different places, like I told you about my nephew, more than one way. Being open-ended about what we're facing. What can we learn from that? We can heal. We can heal our wounds. The body is capable of healing your last scar. How many of us have had a cut, a wound, surgery, stitches, broken limbs? It all heals. Can you imagine if you had a broken arm or a broken leg and it never healed? What life would be like for you? Here's the thought, is that it gets better. The body has been created to heal itself. Some of you have a belief that nothing's going to get better for you. Today's song is going to be Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Yes, by the Wizard of Oz. Because if you listen to that song, that is exactly what it's talking about. Getting better. Some of the beliefs that we have about ourselves, that nothing ever changes. As we are standing, sitting, lying, our earth is spinning. And that's why it's 8 o'clock, 8:35 a.m. here. And Trish, what time is it where you're at?
It is 11:35 where I am.
You have now experienced the Earth's shifting in midair on the axis. That's amazing. So if the Earth can rotate and change, why can't? As you heal, you're discovering ways of improvement. Oh, I'm so glad that we have used our other devices to record. We are here. So these journeys that we travel as locals, these journeys, they are challenging, but I guarantee you that they help you learn. When we think about healing and our transformation, we ask ourselves, what can, what have we learned from the experience? For no one who has traveled comes back and says nothing happened. People that are well traveled in life, they go long distances. And you can't wait for them to tell you how everything went. You can't wait. Why is that? You can't wait because you want to hear, how did it go? What was the experience? What happened? As you hear them out. And on our traveling destinations, you know what begins to happen to us? Our traveling destinations create experience. So when we talk about what we went through, we think about what happened. We say, oh, I saw this or this happened. I was late. Plane didn't get there on time. There was turbulence. But it didn't deter you from where you wanted to go. I always like to tell the story because it has so much meaning for me. And I like to watch shows like The Voice, um, uh, the other one, I can't think of it, but it's all about singing. There was a young woman who had survived a plane crash. This young woman was on, what is the other show? Does anybody know? Put it in the comment.
American Idol?
Yeah, American Idol. Where she was from, she had to get on a plane to get there. She didn't let her past wound or her past experience stop her. In fact, her experience was heroic because she's got guts. I won't even take a risk to get on a plane because of being so afraid of the plane crashing. The fear has crippled me. People always tell me, get on a plane, you'll get there. I've had people tell me, if you get on a plane, I'll take you to Disney World. And you all know how I feel about Disney. Love, love, love Disney. But back to this woman who had been challenged even after this horrific plane crash that killed many of the people that were on that plane. She traveled to the destination of American Idol, and guess what her outcome was? She got to be in the runner-ups for that show. I'm not familiar if she won or not, but she and her story was amazing. Transformation of change. By the way, she'd been burned and disfigured. What do we learn from this? She had changed, but her wounds were able to help her face real challenges, guys. We have many people who have been in plane crashes, car accidents that has crippled them from ever driving again. I haven't had the experience of a plane crash, but yet due to other people and what I've seen, I won't get on a plane. So it can make us fearful or challenge us to try it. You know, our transformation requires us to do something. Do you have any idea of what it is? That your destination to be able to transform your life to the healing path that you want to be on? It requires us to embrace change. Do you think that the woman thought about, gosh, I'm disfigured. Gosh, my face is all burned up. My hands are disfigured. No doubt she was in a lot of pain. She had to face a lot of surgeries. And yet that woman braved herself to come and do something that she loved to do, and that was singing. And did I mention to you her voice was beautiful? You can look that up on YouTube perhaps and see her beautiful voice. Are there times where she's just not quite over the rainbow? Perhaps. Would you judge her if she wasn't? She had to heal from that. Not only did she have to heal physically, but she had to heal emotionally, because no doubt that was a traumatic experience. Transformation requires some type of healing. When we think about healing and our destination transformation, they are intertwined with each other. The healing that we do is the root cause of why we are suffering. Come a little closer. The healing that we do are the root causes of our suffering. Nobody wants to experience that. Going back to the woman that I think so highly of, if you ask her to redo that, no doubt she's going to say, no way, I wouldn't want to do that again. Why? Because you see, what she had been through was real. She suffered. But while she suffered, she was able to face the challenges of living her life. You see, she had to get back on a plane to be able to go to American Idol. She had a safe destination. What we learn from each other is how they do it. She could have felt sorry for herself. She could have said, I don't want anybody to see me like this. She stood and sang proud. I want you to be able to do that. I want you to be able to overcome the challenges of being able to know that your healing is part of transformation. When you start to heal, like that broken leg, you don't feel better when you got something broken. But when it starts to heal, you say, wow, I remember when I couldn't do this. People that have overcome surgeries. You've got to go through the pain in order to improve something, which is why you went through the surgery, because something hurt. There was some pain that needed to be realigned, made better, improved. And you say, does that make sense? I'm already hurting. The surgery's going to hurt me more. So you face the challenge of going through the process of having surgery to heal yourself. That is how life is. You're going to face wounds. You're going to face times that are broken. You're going to face time where instead of somewhere over the rainbow, you must find that rainbow. That's our song for today. We go through physical healing because we've suffered injury. We have to recover. Our emotional healing is all about coping and managing the healing from past things. We go through a social transformation, working toward addressing things in our communities, within ourselves, our home life, our work life. We make changes. You have to have keys to your destination transformation. There are keys. Because without those keys, that gear shift isn't going anywhere. Or should I put it like this? Anywhere where you want it to go. So the keys are being able to examine your feelings and your thoughts, being able to understand why you work the way you do. We are not born with the ability to not do anything about it, right? We're born with the ability to do something. Even before a baby learns to talk, their language is to cry. And isn't it amazing? Us as parents, we understand the cries. That's the ability that that baby wants something done. Whether it wants to eat because it's hungry, or it's poopy or pee-pee, they want a diaper change, or they just want you to pick them up. We can relate to all the cries because we understand that child's unspoken words. We understand the lingo. What do you understand about yourself and your growth? We're able to think about how we feel, how we think. How does that play a part in our life to be able to transform from healing? Do you realize that you're your own superhero? Isn't it amazing that some of us have been through so many traumatic things and we bounce back? Maybe not as quick as you'd like, but you immediately think, I gotta get up from here. How many of us have had the flu and have been really, really sick? Anybody?
I have.
Yeah. Did you feel like running a marathon?
No.
Yeah. I just wanted to lay in bed. Nothing could help me. I just needed to ride it out. After some time, whatever time that was, I started to feel better. And then my life shifted and I wanted to go outside. I wanted to get in my car and go anywhere. Because all I could do was lay in the house, in my bed, to feel better. And that's what life is like when you are resilient. You bounce back from the storms, from the horrible experiences that you've had to undergo to change and be who and what you are at this moment. Pay attention. Be mindful. Be a person that heals and change. Be a person that wants to get on the journey of transformation because it will change your life. You know, there are some of us that wallow in the mud. You know, when I think about an animal, I think about pigs, and that's not to say that you're pigs. That's not what I'm calling you, so don't get that twisted. But I can relate to a pig that wallows in the mire. They like to get dirty. They're in the mud. That's in the animal world. You are far from a pig. You are a person to be valued. Some of us like to lay low in a real sense, and we're not even looking for that rainbow. We're not looking for those silver linings. We just want to lay there and just give in. Every time you think about giving in, I want you to think about that lady that was on that plane when that plane crashed and caught on fire while there were burns all over her body. Again, I say to you, would you like to go through that? And she would probably tell you, no way, she would not. What is more is that she was happy to just be alive. I want you to think about that. This is our Transformation Tuesday, Transformation Destination, and our song being Somewhere Over the Rainbow today. And we're going to be right back because, Trish, we have not forgot about you and Trisha's Treasure. I always get excited for that. And I'm still excited to hear about Trisha's Treasure. We'll be right back.
Come unwind with the Healing Center, a place where we feel thrilled to
We're back, and we're going to turn it over to our very own Trish for her segment of Trisha's Treasures. You can find her on YouTube as well, and find out about her music that is part of our Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. Trish?
Hi,
This is Trisha's Treasures, affiliated with Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast.
So, something about me is I don't really like to travel. I don't. But when I started heading like back and forth from home to the doctor because I was going through my surgeries because I was born with cleft lip, cleft palate, so that's the procedure that goes with that. And so I had to get it later on when I was like 17. So yeah. Basically going through those trips and things like that, I started to notice a lot of things because at first my dad was like, when we're driving, you're just chilling. Like you don't look around, you don't look at your surroundings, you're just like looking forward and that's it. And I'm like, well, like I don't want to I don't want to look around. He'll be like, just look out the window. Look at that. And he'll point out little things. He'll be like, do you see that restaurant over there? There's a horse over there. Like, do you see that? He would do those things. And then he just stopped doing it, I think. And then I started looking around. I started noticing things. And then he asked me, he was like, "Do you know if I was to leave you right here, do you know your way back home?" See, that's a big question. And I was like I was shocked. I was like, "Is he really asking me that? Is he going to do that? Please don't test that theory. Don't do that because I'm not ready." So so he was like, "Just answer the question. Just answer the question." And so I was like, No, no, I wouldn't know." He was like, "See, you have to look at your surroundings, look at where you are, look at the signs. That's why we have signs on the road so you can know where you are. And just in case you get lost, you can call someone and tell them where you are because you've seen the signs." And so this podcast made me think about that. And it made me think about how when I'm headed to a destination of growth or forgiveness, a destination of trying to be more positive in my mindset, and towards that destination, I realize that there's steps to transforming to get to those destinations, like how we see stores and restaurants. The destination, let's take a destination to, let's say, a positive mindset. We're looking around, we're on this journey, we're on the road, and we see Walmart. What can we call Walmart? Let's see. We can call it Optimism Mart or something. So we're passing Optimism Mart, and then we see the gas station, which is a calm mind station. Those things to fill up your mindset with calmness and relaxing. Those things to the destination to having a positive mindset, to being calm, being relaxed. And sometimes I have to step back and think about, is this the route you really want to take to what your goal is, whether to have a good day or to just relax? Do you really want to start your day off with stressing about things? Because there are people that wake up upset, they wake up mad, and there are people that wake up and automatically think, I have this to do, all that needs to be done, and they overstimulate themselves. And sometimes that's me. I wake up overstimulating myself, and I wake up and sometimes I wake up silent, not talking to anybody. That's my version of waking up mad. I don't scream at people. I just ignore people. But that's the same thing as sending the same message, but a different way. So to I've decided when I feel like that, if in my mindset, I'm like, I want to have a destination to a good day. I want to go throughout this day feeling calm, feeling positive. But how am I going to do that if I woke up with, oh no, I have a test today. Oh no, I don't want to be late for school. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Like those are the first two words that I think about. So I stop myself. Sometimes we have to stop, you know, and take a detour. That detour that we talked about, yeah, we have to take that detour and say, "Oh, that's not how I want to start that off. Let me backtrack. Let me put that car in reverse and let's start over." And so I think about, okay, let me start off the day. Let me restart it listening to my favorite song. That's one. Let me fix myself a cup of coffee. Let me take a step back and breathe. So that's how I start detour my journey to the destination of a good day. So with that being said, everyone, anyone that's having a goal within themselves, whether it doesn't have to be a goal to change your mindset, it could be a goal for something else, whether a career, something that you always wanted to do, or traveling. We all prepare for those things, or some people prepare. It's important to prepare, and it's also important to reflect on the change, noticing your change, discovering how you're going to change, and embracing the things that come with change.
Facing the Lion podcast.
Thank you for that. You want to hear more of Trisha's Treasures? Go to our YouTube page, subscribe. It costs you nothing but the click of a button. And you want to hear more of her music? It's there. Go listen to it. Thank you, Trish, for that. We learned so many ways to transform our lives, our mindsets, and our journeys. May your journey be well traveled. May you use the tools of mindset to fulfill every journey that you'd like to take. May you notice the changes. May you notice the growth. May you be ready to accept the challenges that you know of and the challenges that you have yet to embark on. Keep it a safe journey and keep it embraceful. This is your Tuesday transformation from Vibe Talk Facing the Lion podcast. We did, and I want to put a notation on this podcast. We had an outage, but I am safely recording it, and when Trish puts it all together, it will be for your listening in its entirety, no brokenness. Um, that's the joy of being able to be well traveled, even while we're doing this. I want to thank all of you who joined us today. Thank you so much. And just like one of our listeners did, join us while we're live. In order for you to know that we're on, you must click, like, and follow. That's how you get a chance to be part of the conversation. We like that. And we'd love to hear from you. Even when the show is off air, our podcast can be heard live streamed, and you also can call in That number is again 1-888-721-9260. You can always chime in and we'll let you know how we respond. So just because we're not on air doesn't mean when you hear the podcast that you can no longer interact. It's always interact. And the Healing Center is in my local community in California, Palmdale, California. Come by the Healing Center. Join our groups and sessions. Even if you don't want to talk, but you think that you can use it, share our podcast. The Healing Center, you want to know more about that, just call. And don't forget to look at the QR codes. Thank you so much. My special thanks is to my co-host, my ride or die person. Thank you so much, Trish, for your segment. So glad we added the um, Trish's Treasures because they truly are. You want to hear more of it, Trish works on that so that she can get more time. It's on YouTube, okay? Have a good day, and thank you so much for joining us on this Transformation Tuesday, Transformation Destination. Have a good day.
Come unwind with the Healing Center, a place where we feel thrilled to because I don't want you just to make a resolution. I want you to think about. I was really about the boys that did I got the vibe with it. I really took the time with it. I really love the ride with it. Really got the vibe with it. I took my time with it.